Which does lead to our next and final quarterback in this evaluation process. The number one guy who I think should be taken before anyone else. I think it's pretty obvious who it's going to be. Cam Ward. I was going to say his full government name, but I don't know his middle name, so that's kind of a waste of time. At a glance, I said arm is a B+, athleticism is a B. That sounds kind of low, but trust me, it's fine. QB IQ, B+, accuracy, B, general playmaking, A-. Those sound kind of low, but I think, this breakdown I'm about to give is going to describe it a little better and show why I think he is the number one prospect. Cam Ward checks most boxes across the board. He has sufficient arm strength, athleticism on par with a Justin Herbert, is a smart quarterback when the play breaks down, and mostly good in structure. I'd say some of his weaknesses in structure are a few things. Number one, I'd like to see him dirt screens and shorter design passes more often. He put the ball in harm's way a couple of times from this scenario, or took a loss instead of just living to see another day. Number two, he can at times get stuck on a read, which makes sense because Miami had a lot of RPO plays. Would still like to see him work to his other reads more often, which is something he has done and can do. Number three, his footwork in quick three-step drops for RPOs and quick game is a little funky at times. I'd say overall his quick game is a plus, but his footwork got in the way at times. I was a bit underwhelmed with his deep ball accuracy. While he does understand touch, I felt there was a lot to be desired with his deep balls. He leaned into timing rather than placement and didn't do much special. The obvious plus to Cam Ward is his poise and playmaking ability in the pocket, showing no fear in the face of pressure and always keeping his cool. However, there are times in the pocket where he will run into trouble, especially by running into the center of the pocket rather than outside. I also noticed that on occasion while moving around the pocket, he will find a sweet spot to make a throw, but instead of setting his feet down, he will continue running and make the throw harder than it has to be. If you're drafting Cam Ward, you aren't drafting him on high-end potential of top-of-the-league arm or athleticism. You're drafting him because of his mind and coolness as a passer. You're drafting him because of his playmaking ability out of structure while maintaining a solid in-structure play style. While Cam Ward isn't necessarily elite at anything for a prospect, he's well-rounded and fits the mold of a modern NFL quarterback, especially in a game with a focus on short, move-the-sticks passing league. I'd be fine with taking Cam Ward as the first pick, but I wouldn't necessarily stack him up to other first-pick quarterbacks historically. So, after hearing what I said about Dillon Gabriel and then hearing what I just said about Cameron Ward, it sounds like I like Dillon Gabriel more. No, I do think Cameron Ward should be the number one overall quarterback, and I think he will be, pretty obviously. The thing that differentiates between those two guys that I didn't really clarify through that process is, while I did say that I'm not worried about Dillon Gabriel in terms of his size and arm strength and the offense he was playing in, there is a difference between not being worried about it and it translating to the NFL and me be fine, with him going in the first round and being the number 2 quarterback and then being the number 1 overall pick. And I think Cam Ward, all of the things I kind of mentioned with Dillon Gabriel in terms of size, athleticism, arm strength, he's up another level on those things. I also see him as a more moldable prospect than I do Dillon Gabriel. I think Dillon Gabriel will definitely grow and can grow a lot. I think Cam Ward could grow exponentially. This guy has a lot of really solid foundation to his game, but more than that, even though he's not the youngest, I still think he has a lot of room to grow in ways that Dillon Gabriel doesn't quite have the same room to grow. And I think you could really mold Cameron Ward. A good coaching staff and team could mold Cameron Ward into a very good quarterback in the NFL. I think the number one trait everyone knows of Cam Ward is how he'll just sit in the pocket and literally sometimes he'll just stand there not a care in the world. He does not care. He's not scared of pressure or anything. So that was really cool to see. His accuracy, great for the most part. Like I said, the deep balls could have been a little better, but that felt like a really easy fix to me. And then he had an even more dangerous level around maneuvering the pocket than a Dillon Gabriel did with breaking tackles, making guys miss, just making really big plays happen, general playmaking plays like that. That's why it's an A- for him. He's very solid in that category overall. I see a little bit of the Geno Smith in him, just with younger and more athleticism, I'd say. I don't think he had a rocket arm, but I think it's great. I think his arm is totally a modern NFL quarterback's arm at minimum, so that's going to work at the next level. I think he did the quick stuff well, the in-structure stuff well. Sometimes he did lean a little bit too much into trying to make a play rather than just, going with the in-structure stuff. But I would say some of that was due to the fact that Miami, almost every game in college this season, it didn't matter who they played, started the game off losing and then had to make a comeback later, which I think I would put a lot of the comebacks onto Cam Ward and not as much as the being down on Cam Ward. That's what I think about that. I think at this point, I'm not sure who's going to be the number one overall pick and if it's going to be a quarterback. It seems like the Titans are more willing to give Will Levis a second chance. They could still trade that away. That seems to be on the table for them as well. Regardless, I think the number one quarterback is without a shadow of a doubt going to be Cam Ward. Like we can argue about where Dylan Gabriel is going to go. I could see him going in the second or third round because of how other people view him. This is just my list. I could see that happening. I would be absolutely floored if Shedeur Sanders or anyone else went ahead of Cam Ward. This guy, to me, with this class and these quarterbacks, looks like the obvious pick as the number one quarterback and kind of the most best upside, but also just best floor on him. And just the guy that looks the most like an NFL caliber quarterback without any questions. He has some questions and he has some things that he's not as good at that he needs to work on, but a lot of it are things that I think are going to be pretty easy to work through and for him to get better at. And he was also seemingly a very smart quarterback as well, and that's just going to go at the next level. It will, 100%. And I didn't have much to say about his accuracy. I think on short balls, perfectly fine accuracy. Intermediate of the field, made a lot of really good plays. Deep ball, like I said, I thought could have been a little bit better, but they were things I think he'll improve on. This, to me, any of the top three teams that are in the draft, I think, what are we doing? Titans, Browns, and then Giants. Any of those three teams, I'd be fine with them taking Cam Ward. Guy's a stud. Is he like a Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels category of player? No, I don't think so, but this isn't a year where you can get those guys. This is a year where he can either get Cam Ward or settle for something else or take a gamble on a quarterback. And this is the least gamble you can do is with Cam Ward.